The desert was still as bone when John Hale spotted her. The morning sun had just begun to burn off the mist hanging low over the canyon, and there she was, tied to an old cedar stake driven into the ground like an ancient curse. Her wrists were raw, her head bowed, her dark hair matted with dust and blood. The rancher reined in his horse, confusion twisting in his gut. He'd seen many things in his years, wildfires, shootouts, storms that tore fences apart, but never this. Never a girl bound like a sacrifice, alone in the wasteland. Then, through cracked lips, came the words that froze his breath, "Please. I am begging you. Untie it." Her voice wasn't weak, though it trembled with pain. It carried something fierce, a kind of strength wrapped in fear. He should have turned away. Every story his father ever told him came rushing back, warnings about Apache justice, about punishments handed down by their own laws. "Never interfere with Apache business," his father's voice whispered in his head. "It ain't your place to judge or mend their ways." But she looked up. Her eyes, deep, black, and pleading, met his, and he felt something shift inside. The wind kicked up dust, the sky turned white hot, and the silence around them grew thick enough to choke on. He climbed down from his horse. "Who did this to you?" he asked, his voice barely audible over the wind. "My people," she said. "They think I brought death into the village. I didn't." She swallowed hard. "They said the desert will judge me. But it doesn't have to." John's heart pounded. He stared at the rope, the knot pulled tight and dark with sweat. Every instinct screamed to leave it, to walk away before he got himself killed. But when she whispered again, voice cracking like dry timber, "Please. I am begging you. Untie it." He couldn't stand it any longer. When the last strand snapped, she fell into his arms, trembling, gasping, whispering something in her language that he couldn't understand. The air felt heavier, like the land itself disapproved. The horse whinnied and stomped nervously, sensing something John couldn't. "Easy," he muttered to both of them. "You're all right now." "No," she said, her voice shaking. "You've made it worse." He frowned. "Worse." She turned toward the horizon, where the sun burned over the ridges like molten iron. "The spirits saw you free me," she said. "They'll think you took my burden." John shook his head. "I don't believe in that." But when he tried to lift her onto the horse, she resisted. "You don't understand," she said. "When they tied me, they bound the curse to the rope. By cutting it," her voice trailed off. "That night, she stayed at his ranch. He gave her food, water, and a blanket. She sat silently by the fire, staring into the flames, her expression far older than her years. Every now and then, she whispered words he didn't know." John poured himself whiskey and watched her, wondering if he'd made the worst mistake of his life. Near midnight, something heavy struck the side of the cabin. Then again. John grabbed his rifle and ran to the door, heart pounding. Outside, the desert was empty, but in the sand, illuminated by the moon, were footprints. Bare feet. Dozens of them, circling the house in a wide ring. He turned back toward the firelight, and saw the girl standing. Her eyes were wild, her voice cold. "They've come for you." The next morning, the sun rose blood red. John hadn't slept. The girl, Ayanna, hadn't spoken since the night before. She just watched him with eyes that saw through skin and bone. When he stepped outside, he found something carved into the dirt outside the door, a circle, crossed with a snake-like line. He knelt to touch it. The soil was warm. "What does it mean?" he asked. She joined him, her bare feet silent in the dust. "It means the bond has shifted," she said. "You are the one being judged now." John tried to laugh, but it came out hollow. "Judge me for what?" "For mercy," she said softly. Over the next few days, strange things began happening. Cattle bolted for no reason. The water in the troughs turned murky overnight. Coyotes howled even at noon. John brushed it off as coincidence, but Ayanna grew more restless. "The spirits won't stop," she told him. "They want balance restored." "How do we do that?" he asked. She looked at him with quiet sadness. "You have to finish what you started." That night, the wind rose again, louder this time, shrieking through the eaves like a living voice. When John opened the door, he saw firelight flickering on the distant ridge. Figures were moving there, shadows, torches. The Apache were coming. By dawn, they surrounded the ranch. Silent, grim, faces painted with ash and blood. John stepped outside with his hands raised. Ayanna stood beside him, her head high, her hair whipping in the hot wind. The eldest among them, a man with silver braids and eyes like granite, approached. "You broke the circle," he said to John. "I saved her life," John replied. "She was not meant to be saved," the elder said. "Her death was to cleanse the land. Now the sickness is yours." John felt the earth tremble faintly beneath his boots, a vibration deep and ancient. He turned to Ayanna, but she wasn't looking at him. She was looking at the elder. "Let him go," she said. "He didn't know." The old man's expression softened, barely. "Then you must take his place." Before John could react, Ayanna stepped forward, pressing her palms together. "I already have," she whispered. Then she looked at John one last time. "You gave me one more sunrise. That's more than mercy. That's life." The ground split open in a roar of wind and sand. The torches flickered out. When John awoke, he was alone, the tribe, the girl, the circle all gone. Only the rope remained, coiled neatly at his feet. He picked it up. It was warm. From that day on, no grass grew where his cabin stood, and every night, as the desert wind howled, he heard her voice again, soft, distant, pleading.